the Patriot Act, the most abominable, unconstitutional, hateful, from the point of freedom, piece of legislation since the Alien and Sedition Acts in 1798. John Ashcroft told the House Judiciary Committee and the Senate Judiciary Committee the Patriot Act was so important that they didn't have time to read the statute before they could vote on it. Imagine that. Two members of the Senate claimed they read it, and one of them is now dead, Paul Wellstone. He voted against it. Russ Feingold says he read it. He voted against it. Ron Paul and his colleagues in the House were given 15 minutes on the House intranet, the internal internet for members of Congress and their staffs, to read the Patriot Act. It's 315 pages long, and it doesn't read like a novel. I have read it. I have read it twice. In order to read it, you have to have in front of you the entire United States Criminal Code, because most of the Patriot Act says, in 14 U.S.C. 1523, move the comma, change or to and, change 6 months to 8 months. It will take days to read this. Members of the House, without having had the opportunity to read it at all in any way, never mind meaningful in any way, nevertheless, with no debate on the floor, fearing what John Ashcroft told them, voted for the Patriot Act, and it passed, and the Senate voted for it, and with 2 dissents, it passed, and the President signed it. Now, the Patriot Act took FISA and said, you know those warrants that you obtained that you can't use information in criminal prosecutions? Now you not only may use that in criminal prosecutions, you must use it in criminal prosecutions. And you know that information that you got from the self-written search warrants, the financial institutions, you now not only may use that in criminal prosecutions, you must use it in criminal prosecutions. And you know the banker that would call up the client and say, there's a guy here with a self-written search warrant that wants your banking records. If the banker reveals that he has received a self-written search warrant, it's a felony for the banker, punishable by 5 years in jail. Now you may say, well, what about the First Amendment? The First Amendment says Congress shall make no law abridging the freedom of speech. But the Patriot Act says if you tell anyone, your spouse, your lawyer, your priest, your best friend, a judge in a federal courtroom, that's right, every challenge of the Patriot Act has been an anonymous challenge, because if you reveal to a judge in a courtroom that you received one of these self-written search warrants, you'll be arrested when you walk outside the courtroom. Congress just forgot about the First Amendment. Congress believes, Ron Paul and those freedom lovers to the contrary, that it can just override the principles of the supreme law of the land. What about the Fourth Amendment? What about the requirement of a judge before the government can get information from a financial institution? Congress said, forget about it. The times are too tough. It's too difficult. We don't want another 9/11. Here's the bargain. Give me your freedom and I'll keep you safe. It has never worked. It makes us less free and unsafe. You come home from a lovely gathering like this on a Sunday night or a basketball game on a Friday night, the front door is broken open, the bed is turned upside down, everything is pulled out of your filing cabinet, and the kitchen's been ransacked. What do? You call the police. The police will say to you, well, we think it was the FBI. What? Yes, because the Patriot Act authorizes something called sneak and peek. The FBI can break into your house and make it look like it was a burglary and plant a bug under the kitchen table or on the bedpost or behind the toilet and not have to tell you about this for 18 months. They can do this. Where is this in the Constitution, that the Congress has this kind of power to authorize federal agents to override the fundamental law of the land? And all this information that they get about us or about you or whoever the target is in a criminal prosecution. In his heart and in his head, in his character and in his intellect, in what he has done and in what he will become, the Thomas Jefferson of our day, Ron Paul, is one of us.